just looking through some of the tweets, a lot of young people want to know, I think most people will agree that some kind of reforms need to be made in the education system here, that it's failing a lot of our young people. And in each of your party's proposals, what part do you propose young people will play in those reforms, and what part will young people play in changing the education system and making it work for them?
Tanya?
I think young people are excluded from political debate to a great extent at present. It's something of a vicious circle. Young people tend not to vote, and so they tend, their interests tend not to be represented by the parties, and hence they become more disenfranchised. I'm very pleased to see Rock the Vote and all their work, you know, such as this evening. I think that the inclusion of 16-year-olds in the franchise for the Scottish referendum was a great step forward. It showed that young people have the maturity, have the thoughtfulness to be able to use their vote at 16, and there are also many practical advantages of encouraging people to vote at 16 when they're likely to be living at home at a stable address. They can get into the habit of voting before they move on to university. The Green Party is, of course, very strong among young people, particularly students across the UK, and we recognise the ways in which young people are being discriminated against at the moment, particularly with a huge level of tuition fees and of student debt. And our position is that third level education should be free, and that there shouldn't be tuition fees.
Okay, and finally,
we looked at health, we looked at education, and we've looked at the importance of the cuts that have taken place within those different departments. Now we're looking at energy and renewable energy. And to me, the overall feeling tonight is that we need to start looking at change, and the cuts aren't acceptable. So my question is, the health service in renewable energy sources, and how can we invest in those other things as well? Surely that is the key. I just want to quickly say, two economics Nobel laureates, Paul Krugman and Joseph Stiglitz, won their Nobel Prize because they proved the myth that is austerity, that it doesn't work. So what is the alternative, and how can we stand up to the Conservative government, and how can we invest in renewable energy sources?
A lot of these funding questions are as the question suggested, red herrings. The situation is that the UK is a sovereign nation with its own currency. It therefore has the power to create the money that it needs. At the moment, most of that power is given over to banks. At the moment, 97% of all money created is created by banks, but that is a decision of the government, and it doesn't have to be like that. We saw from quantitative easing that the government is quite capable of creating money when it wants to. Of that 375 billion that was created by quantitative easing, only 8% went into the real economy. All the rest of it went to make already rich people richer. If it can be done for such a destructive, useless reason as that, then we can easily create the money that we need in order to invest in essential things like renewable energy, like health, like education, like sustainable businesses. So really it's a red herring. If the government wanted to invest, they could do.